Didn't get around to changing that countdown timer. I really really have to get on that one of these days. Someone needs to remind me. Paul, you need to remind me to update this countdown timer. Hello, Ecamm fam. We are so excited to be back again in front of the camera, hanging out with just the best possible group of content creators and video professionals and podcasters out there. I love this show. Thank you so much to all of you for tuning in week after week, month after month, and for being guests on this show. If you're watching this, you are welcome to be a guest on the show. I finally got around to adding the link. So here in the description of this video, you will find the link to book a time. Come and join us and share your story with me and with the Ecamm fam. We'd love to hear how you do what you do, how you got there, what the journey was along the way. It's honestly like one of my favorite parts of the week. So thank you to everyone for supporting the show. I super appreciate it. We're just going to jump right in because I love being able to just have these conversations. So not too much housekeeping here at the beginning, other than, all of the usual. Make sure that you're following us on all the different platforms and places. We have a brand new page called community. So if you go ecamm.com/community, you'll find all of the places that we are, including like how to sign up for emails, how to get notifications on the things that matter to you, and all of our kind of upcoming programs and things that are happening. So that's a great spot to swing on over to. I know Paul will drop that link in the comments for all of you, but that's just ecamm.com/community. So a good place to find us. Well, without further ado, I have Dalton hanging out with us today. He's coming to Creator Camp. So this is like my chance to pick his brain before we jump on into the world of Creator Camp. But I am just so thrilled for him to be here and talk all about what it is he does and how he does what he does and all of the behind the scenes. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Dalton.
Hey, everybody. What's up, K with a T? Hello, everyone. I'm Dalton Smith. How's it going out there? I see y'all joining in.
Yeah, I always love everyone popping in. We have Shelby is like so excited for this.
That's my wife.
I love it. She's in. She's ready. I love it. So we have Steve hanging out. Shelby, this is your time. We can ask all kinds of questions if you have ones you want to get in front of him.
Put me on the front.
We have Steve hanging out from Orlando, Florida. Thanks so much for spending time with us. And if you're watching in the chat and you have questions, just throw a Q and a colon in front of them. We'll make sure we ask Dalton on the way. But why don't we jump in with the bio, with the background? If people haven't yet met you, who are you and what are you creating?
Yeah, my name is Dalton Smith. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I do a podcast called the Step Brothers Podcast. I do it with my best friend and my son's godfather, Kris.
Awesome.
It's basically, the concept is, imagine like a guy's group chat. A lot of people ask, what does a guy's group chat consist of? You know? So it's like that, but we mainly focus on music. I'm a music major. I'm a music person by trade.
That's awesome.
My friend Kris is a producer. We've been doing it for well over 10 years now. So the main focus really is music. We get local artists, producers, even like teachers and things of that nature on the show to talk. But then we go on like group chat tangents and we get on to the other stuff. But I'm a big movie guy, so I'm always talking about movies or anime on the show. Kris is not,
You're in
so
great
it's like
company.
there's
Yeah.
like the I don't know what you're talking about thing going on there. Um, so that's basically what I'm doing currently. That started as something completely different, which I can get into later. But
Yeah.
more importantly, other than the podcast, I am a husband and a father.
Aw.
My wife Shelby, who's in the comments right now,
Shelby.
and my son Raiden. He just turned 2 in April, so I got a little bitty. I got a toddler. And announcement: my wife is pregnant with our second one,
Shelby,
so we're gonna have we're
congratulations.
having another boy. His name will be Ronan.
Ah, I love it.
So we got Raiden and Ronan, and he will be born. Looks like ETA is September. So
Nice.
uh, I squeaked into Creator Camp. Barring any issues on that, but
Sure.
yeah, so I will be a father too very shortly. So that's really what I'm focused on now is my that kind of stuff. I'm just getting more into the video side, which is thanks to Ecamm and things of that nature. I can go on and on about that stuff. But that's the short synopsis. We can go deeper as we go along, but that's what I
I
do now.
I love it. Well, you're in good company. I also do a podcast with my best friend talking about movies. So I'm
There
totally
you go.
familiar with the
Yeah.
tangents and the format. So how did you make the decision to start the show? What was the kind of the process and thinking through, okay, let's do this. Let's create this show.
Yeah, so the original idea actually was a straight music show. So
Yeah.
this is way back before there was like all the crazy takedowns, and if you have like any
Yeah.
music that's not yours, they gon' just cut your lights off. So I was on SoundCloud, which is a very popular music platform for
Mhm.
like independent creators, and then Mixcloud as well. The show was on there to start with. It was literally a music show. So me and Kris would talk about the music that came out that week or an album perhaps, and we kind of go by track and like play it or like and then do kind of like a almost a radio show type of thing. That's where it started. But then when they started getting all those like teardowns and things like that, we kind of had to take that part of it away, and then we had to rethink it. So shortly after that, me and Shelby moved in together, and we started doing it from that point. So it's been since 2017 we've done
Wow.
this format. It comes out every Monday unless there's something specific, which we always say. But I moved twice in between, and then there's some like my birth of my son, of course.
Yeah.
But those things, other than that, every Monday the episode's out, and every Wednesday the video is out on YouTube. The YouTube part came a lot later.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people were like, we need some kind of visual from you," because we have a lot of listeners. Like a lot of people listen to it,
Yeah.
like on their way to work and things of that nature, which is
Yeah.
what's great for podcasts.
Sure.
But there are people that do want to see it, regardless if it's 10, 20, whatever. There are people that were asking, hey, can y'all make videos? So first I was just doing like audiogram videos just to get it on YouTube, like just to like
Yeah.
fill it in. And um, then we had a partnership that came in our lap from Hello Studios, which is a studio here in Dallas.
Oh, cool.
They had just opened, so they're wanting podcasts to come and be in their space. And they're primarily like an Airbnb for podcasts, if you can think of it
Yeah.
uh, like that. It's so they have different rooms, and then but we've been there ever since. And uh, basically, they told me about Ecamm. So they were like, "Hey, if you need a live stream, we use a
That is
software
so
called
cool.
Ecamm." And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "It's a Mac only software, and all I have is Apple stuff." So I
You're
was like,
like, no
"Okay."
problem. Yeah.
So then I started deep diving into it, and we actually live stream from there, the first one, and then two from my house after that. Live streaming is really tough for us because we never record at the same time,
Yeah.
so it's too sporadic. But we tried it a couple times. But that's kind of how we got into the video side. And I'm still tinkering, we're still learning. I'm learning Final Cut. I'm learning all this stuff because once I can't just learn one thing. I have to learn all of it. But I have been afraid for a long time to kind of jump into the video side because it is more daunting to me than audio.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so
I
that's where
love
we are now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, there's a few things in there that I think are super important for everyone
Yeah.
to hear. Well, I absolutely love that you were just able to make like the right pivots and not give up. So it was like, the initial concept, something hit and you weren't able to do it the way you wanted, but you just continued on. And then I absolutely love that you listened to your audience. So, you just said like video is not necessarily entirely was your thing. It's daunting,
No.
it's big, it's hard to do. It's expensive too, right? You need to figure out
Yeah.
like how to move, but your audience was like, we'd like to see one video, and you're like, okay, buckle up, I'm there, which I think is huge. And a lot of people really miss as they're getting started in a lot of this. Like they have a great idea for a show, maybe they don't have it fully baked on like exactly what it's going to be like, but just starting and then being able to like make those changes and updates as you go and really listening to what your audience wants as well as your own needs is just really smart, and I think is a testament to why you've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Because you're just really willing to kind of keep tabs on it and make the changes that you need to and try things and tweak things and get better. And then the second thing I want to say, which is you're probably one of the first people who I've heard say this, I'm so excited to hear this, is that there are so many places like that, whether, there's been a huge movement for public libraries to start offering like podcasting labs and studio spaces for anyone to be able to come in and use. And there are more and more studios popping up that kind of have that Airbnb feel, or you could rent an Airbnb or a space if if it's something that you don't have in your home space. So I think that's so smart, like not only to leverage those spaces, but to consider partnering with companies like that, because obviously they're looking for people to come in and create content and create these shows. And many of us are looking for, bigger spaces or like more options for space, like maybe you're in like a rental place and we can't change our backgrounds or paint things the way we want to, or, maybe we have kids running in and out. You don't want to risk something like that. So I think it's, if you're new and you're listening to this, like that's a great thing to try. And what, can you remind me again what the name of that one was?
Yeah, it's Hello Studios.
Hello Studios. All right.
Downtown
So
Dallas.
if you're in the Dallas area, worth checking out.
Yeah, it came at a good time. My son was about to be born, and I was like, I don't want, because everybody, like my guests were not remote; they would come to us.
Yeah.
So like, because most of the time we knew these people, like so they would just come, but they were in my house. Like so, I was like, I don't want all this disrupting my wife's gonna be low on sleep, my son gonna be a baby, so it kind of came at a good time. Not disrupting anything because it would usually be in the evening.
Yeah.
So and we're not quiet. I'll tell you that we're not quiet. And then like Matt just said, maybe that do business.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Matt, do that. My very first foray into anything is I own a recording studio.
Yep.
So you'd be surprised who would shell out money for that kind of stuff. Also, just for any like podcast person, I know the biggest question a lot of people ask is like the money aspect. Is like, how do you monetize?
Yep.
Look, what I've learned is do not be afraid to reach out. You'd be surprised who wants to work with you. Like you will be surprised. Our first sponsorship we ever had was a brewery, Pegasus Brewery in Dallas. We had so much free beer. I didn't run out for like 6 months. It was just, they just gave me so much beer, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have known that unless we talked to them, like, cause we had a homie that was a brewer there and he was like, hey, would you mind like talking about us on the show and drinking the beer? I'm like, yeah. And then we did that and we had our first live show there too. We did a live show there, had about 50 people there playing games. We did my favorite game that we made up called Karaoke Roulette, which you don't know what song's about to play, but you got to sing it. I don't care if you know it or not.
That sounds so
it's
fun.
Boom. But so that's, you got to reach out. Like now we have an affiliation with Dad King Hats. So like every time someone uses our promo code to buy a hat, we get a little kickback. You just don't know, but just do it with stuff that you would wear. Like I'm a dad, so this this works for me. But it's just a lot of stuff like that. You just have to reach out, don't be afraid to do it. I mean, you might get a lot of non-responses, but then some people will be like, yeah, for sure. Like people
Yeah.
are reaching out to me, and I don't have like thousands of followers, but people are reaching out to me. Like I'm talking about like big. We've had ad reads for uh Manscaped, the
Yeah.
razor brand. Like they
Yeah.
reached out to me. Like, and I know they do a lot of ads, but they're those for like bigger shows. I didn't know they would reach out to me.
Yeah.
So like we've done all that stuff. So, um, and of course, the return's going to be smaller than what you want. And then now I have dynamic ads too. So like the ads are just built in, but like you just never know. You just never know.
You never
So
know.
I
Yeah.
jumped on the opportunity anytime someone asked me anything about that. So
That is, I think that's awesome. And again, really important for everyone to understand. And the initial sponsorships may not even, it may make sense to partner in a way that is like mutually beneficial. Like in the case of
yeah,
the brewery, like, they could, a business like a brewery can offer you a cool space, the opportunity to get in front of a different audience. That's like that's a very smart move to make because it appeals to like the target audience you're trying to get to. So
yeah,
even if it was like a small amount of money or even if it was no money, but it was just like a mutual marketing opportunity, that's just
yeah,
a really smart way to kind of get your foot in the door and move towards, larger opportunities and more money down the road. So yeah, especially if you're, I mean, even if you're not new, honestly, like if you've been at it
yeah,
for a really long time, really thinking through like all of your options and not just like, well, sponsor to me means like it's got to be this amount of money and this month and this is what the packages look like. There may be a
yeah,
ton of opportunities out there that don't fit into those boxes, but would actually be a huge win for, for you and for your show. So I think that's great.
yeah,
And I love that you've like really kind of, even though you have like obviously a, opportunity and a kind of a global reach through what you're doing, just as by merit of being a podcast, you
yeah.
also like seem to have a really good understanding of how to think locally and work within your local community, which I think is also really like hugely important. And yeah, and Gabe is saying that he's also in Dallas, so there's a future connection. You and Gabe can
There
chat
you go.
offline. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I'm in the
absolutely.
community. Reach out to me. I know
Yeah,
Tanya's out here too, Miss
yeah,
Tanya.
yeah.
I call her cousin Tanya because we have the same last name. But yeah, so there are a few of us here, surprisingly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually quite a number, I would say, probably like as far as Ecamm customers go, both California and Texas, in addition to just being obviously giant states, I have a
Yeah,
huge percentage of Ecamm customers are in those two states. So lots of
gotcha.
chances there. We'll have to think through another Texas meetup. It's been a while since we've done one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just to go back to the point, also I just want to stress like not everything has to be monetary, like actual like dollar dividends, like
Yep.
because me just going to doing a live show at the brewery, we didn't all those people weren't and like didn't like RSVP, they were just there at the brewery.
Yeah.
So I gained new listeners. So like listeners is I think could be more important than dollar amounts because those are the people that are like feeding into you. So like we had a bunch of new listeners because we had coasters, I had cards, koozies because it was a
Because it was a
brewery. So
brewery.
like
Yeah.
all those things, like people left with stuff and they were like, we left an impression. I mean, especially when we were doing our games and stuff, they're like, who are these boys out here? And then I'm like a music guy by trade, so now I was like DJing too. So like all that was it was just a good time. So like not everything has to be monetary if it's
Yeah.
gaining you listeners and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Oh,
that's a
video like your dad, what's up? You already know. Dad
I
gang.
know. Yeah, we have the Dallas gang hanging out today. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important to remember, and it is. It's so much of it goes back to like you should be doing things that you're passionate about
Yeah.
anyway. Like you seem like you're the kind of person that like, you're there with the people that you care about. It's they're topics that are like close to your heart. You're having fun, and I think that when that's your mindset, then the rest of it is just easier. Like when your mindset is, I need to launch this show, I have to make money with this. Like this is like make or break for me. And it's so financially driven and you've lost
Mm,
kind of the reason, your why and your passion and your excitement and the fun behind it. It's way harder. It's not that it's impossible, but it's
yeah.
definitely much harder because
Yeah.
it's a busy space out there. And there's so many different spaces that you can be in and so many different shows. So you really do have to kind of carve out your space. And you're right. I think like the listeners and the followers and the community, Doc is always saying like, you're not building an audience, you're building a community of people that are
Community.
behind you. And
Yep,
that matters. There's
absolutely.
value in that, even beyond just the relationships. There's value in having like, and having people at the Ecamm fam, right? Like, and having this community that just
Yeah.
like shows up for you and you can learn with and from. And I think it makes a big difference for sure. Paul's saying North
Yeah, I
California
cannot.
meetup. Yeah.
I just cannot like say enough about the Ecamm community or like the videos in general. Like y'all put me on so much game. Like I have like a lot of I have heard of so much software I never heard of. Like for my camera right now, I'm using a switch pod. I never heard about a switch pod
I
until
am
y'all brought it up.
too. Yeah.
See? Like I never knew it existed. But
Yeah.
and like that's what I'm saying. Y'all put me on game and stuff. I'm like, I might not use everything, but I'm gonna check it out because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I might be able to use this. And then with y'all give freebies all the time, so I'll be using all the free codes, and I'm like, let me see if I can use it. If not, that's fine, but I'm going to try it
Yeah.
to ease my workflow or like make things cooler. Yep, that comes with an app.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
an Ecamm is a community that
comes
comes
with
with
an
an app. Absolutely. All right, Gabe, I'll answer you about my mushrooms. I got, and we actually, this will lead us into a next set of questions I wanted to ask anyway. But I've been on a mission this year in like trying to be better with my space. So,
Yeah.
we were just talking about how you were in this, like, you were able to kind of move into a different space that was like really designed for podcasting and for video recording. So I'm lucky in that I have like 5 minutes away or 10 minutes away from me, I have access to the Ecamm studio, and all of the resources and gear and equipment that's in it. But I also like, I am constantly on the move, and I have like a personal show that I do, and I create a lot of content here from my home, and I like to be able to work from home, and I like to be able to have, be able to turn the camera on. But I'm in an old house, so a super old house, and I share it with my big family, and I have, this room that I'm in is like half my daughter's like art room and half like craft projects that I'm working on and half a studio. So I spent this over Christmas break just like moving things around, and I was trying so
Yeah.
hard to kind of mimic what existed in the Ecamm studio and what I was seeing in everyone's cool videos. I was like, well, I need to have like some cool physical thing behind me, and I need to have like my trinkets on my shelf, and then after a while I was like, it actually would work better if I just had a wall behind me. And I was like, okay, well, what if I did just like a really cool wallpaper? It would look cool in the house anyway, and it would be fun. And so it's worked really well. It's probably a little bit busy, but I could also not. Like, I could move to a different blank wall if I needed to. I've scaled way back on all my gear. I have
Yeah.
literally an OBSBot tiny camera. I have like the smallest version of Nan lights in front of me, and I have my Shure microphone, and that's it. Like that's it in this space, because I have all the bigger other things elsewhere. I don't really need them
Yeah.
for what I'm doing. So what is your, and maybe you're like me and you have multiple spaces, but what do your studio space or spaces look like right now, and how have you kind of gotten to where you're at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my gear that I've already had from like my audio stuff, like
Sure.
because I'm
Because you're a
a
musician.
music
Yeah.
guy, so
Yeah.
I have several microphones, a ton of headphones. Um, but the Hello Studio space, it has 4 rooms. One of the rooms is like a really big room that we don't use. That's for like 8 people.
Wow.
Never use it because
Yeah.
we never have that many people on.
Yeah.
But and then we've alternated through the other 3 to see which one we like the best. They go by color. So there's a pink room, a black room, and then there's a room that has like a navy blue.
Ooh, a black
That's
room.
like the one with the couch,
Yeah.
and the other ones have like chairs. So we kind of just pick the room based on whoever the guest is. If it's just me and Kris, we're always going to pick the pink room because it's the most narrow.
Yeah.
So like it's just easier to fit in there instead of all that extra space. But and then every studio has the same thing. So they use a Rodecaster.
Mhm.
They have either the pod mics, and then sometimes they have the handheld Shure mics in some of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
The
and
Beta 58s or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. The big room has those, but everyone has the same setup, so where you can just kind of plug and play when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
And since my laptop already has all the Rode stuff on it, I just can bounce
You're
immediately.
ready.
And now that I'm using Ecamm, when I record there, my video is already on my laptop and hard drive. When I'm done, I
Yeah.
just leave. Um, but they do have cameras as well. If you are interested in that, they do provide cameras. You won't get the same one every time. It just depends on what they had set up at the time. But one time I did get to use the FX30, which is really nice. And then at home, kind of the same setup. Right now I'm on the Wireless Pro, the Rode.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of microphones though, and I have a Rodecaster Duo in my office back there, and my MacBook Pro, and my camera is a Fujifilm XS20.
Oh, cool.
So I got that
Yeah, that's
because
great.
I want to take pictures with my family as well. So it's kind of like the hybrid situation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a lot of gear. I could go probably a whole other hour about just gear itself, but
You
that's the
don't
main
say.
stuff I
Ecamm
use. Yeah,
people always have always
yeah.
have a lot
That
of
was
gear.
before I've always had the gas. I just if something cool comes out, I'm like I'm gonna try that real quick. That's just how I am about music gear, really. But I
Yeah.
have scaled back though. Like I'm trying to get more condensed, which is why I went from a Rodecaster to a Duo.
Same.
I didn't need the big one.
Yeah.
I got it because it was cool. Now I got
Same.
the
I was
small one.
like, the light up buttons Doc told
Yeah.
me to, and also the light up buttons were the two
Well,
reasons
a
why.
doc recommendation is pretty legit though. You're like I'll do what he says.
Exactly. It does. Paul is saying this. Watching any of our streams are
Yeah.
likely to cause some issues.
Yeah,
Hide
I'm
your
gonna
credit
help y'all
cards.
out. I'm not gonna go too deep into mine then because I have a lot. Because these headphones are baller too. I mean, these are no latency wireless headphones. So
Stay with us for the audio nerds. Yeah,
yeah,
it is interesting. I think honestly a lot of I don't know why it's taken me so long, I think, to get here, but it is amazing to me that the people who are able to be successful in this industry are actually the ones that spend the time or have a background in audio. Like it just is, because I feel like audio is the easiest thing to screw up, is the most noticeable thing when it's bad.
oh yeah,
And it doesn't seem like it's the most important thing when you're like, oh, I'm going to record videos, or I'm going to sign up for Ecamm and I'm going to be a video person. But if you have a really good understanding of audio and of what like microphones you need and just how audio works even in this
yeah,
space, it like the rest of it is doable compared, like, and it doesn't even take that long to learn, but it is one of those things that you can't skip. And it just becomes more and more apparent to me the more, I speak, like people like you who have a background in audio and have worked in music, and I are always like, you're at least, a mile ahead of anyone else who's starting, because it like you already have the microphones, you understand how it works, you know what to test and check for. The rest of it is easy. Yeah, Markup is saying audio. Yeah, no, it is. I don't know. It's interesting because I don't think it's as obvious as it should be or kind of needs to be on how important it is.
yeah. I mean, as the old thing says, you can hear somebody before you can see them most of the time, right? So
Yep.
like if I don't care how pretty your video is, if I can't hear what you're saying or if
Yeah.
it don't sound good,
Gone.
I'm turning that video off. It's the
Exactly.
same with music though. Like if a music was like not mixed or like it sounds all garbled, I'm like, what am I listening to right now?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And it's crazy to think about this, but when you're just talking, it's even more important because you don't have anything else to distract anything. Because with
Yeah.
music, you can hide things with certain things, but with straight talking, I can't hide nothing. I'm in my living room. So like
So
I can't
true.
hide anything from you.
Yeah.
So like what you hear is what you get. So like without dead space, and then what if you are in a louder environment? You got to get the right microphone for that. Yeah, see, Paul,
Yeah.
bad audio is unwatchable.
It
It
is
seems
unwatchable.
weird, but it's true. Imagine watching a movie with bad audio. I mean, we've all watched bootleg movies. We don't have to hide it. We've done it. And
No, I couldn't.
it I really watched the bootleg so bad, I was like, I'll just go see it in theaters. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it.
So you
Oh.
gotta sound good.
Yeah,
Everything else will
absolutely. Maury's asking a question about the OBSBot Tiny. Yeah, so I've been playing with this OBSBot Tiny 2 PTZ webcam for the last probably 6 months, I think, at this point. And I love it.
come. So, yeah,
I was stupid that I didn't set up anything extra, but it when I say it's tiny, it's
very small.
tiny.
Yeah, it's
And
like
so I
like this. Yeah,
exactly, and
yeah.
it's on my Switch pod. So as we are just saying, which
There you
even
go.
that took me like for I was like I'm like, oh, I don't know where to put it because I have a MacBook and I like can't really. It has like this kind of thing that comes with it that lets you connect it like
Hmm.
not really mount it, but you can kind of like magnet it to the top
Yeah,
of your display or your laptop. But I was like, oh, what do I do? And then I was like, oh, I own a Switch pod. So I pulled the Switch pod out, and it's
yeah.
been great. And now I literally like the Switch pod like folds flat, is super lightweight, so I can just toss this in my bag. So I will say that like if you're in a smaller space or you're on a budget and you just can't get to get all the way to like a mirrorless camera or more expensive camera, or you're just really looking for like something because you're on the go, like you can literally toss into my bag and bring with me back
Yeah.
and forth, and it's always good. The only issue I've run into it, and it's probably user error, is every now and then I need to have and this actually is true for a lot of gear. Like I also am bad at keeping the app open with it. So
Oh,
there are
yeah.
times where the color of my video will look different, and I'm like, oh, maybe I've messed with my lights. And a lot of the time it's just because I don't have I've forgotten to put the app up, and I've like messed with something in the setting and I didn't even realize it. Or so. And it's the same way with the Shure microphones. Doc is always saying, have that mode of app open so that you can play with it, especially if you have it plugged in by USB, because that literally is why that app
Yeah.
exists, so that you can
Yep.
control it. Like just because you have the controls in Ecamm doesn't mean that that's the only place that you should be
Yeah.
double checking those controls. So that's my only complaint with it. Again, it's probably user error. It's just that you really do need to kind of double check and test it, because it and I talk with my hands, so I turned off
Oh,
all
oh
of the
yeah.
tracking, because it was like zooming around and zooming
Yeah.
me in and doing all kinds of stuff. So it goes a long way. Yeah. How do you like I love that you're like intentionally chose a camera that you're using for family photos as well as, I
Yeah.
think that's just really smart, right? But the
Yeah.
picture quality looks awesome. Have you had any
Oh,
issues with
thank
it? Do
you.
you like it?
No, I've had no issues. It has built-in LUTs into the camera, so
That's
like it has
cool.
like film simulations. So the one
Yeah.
I'm on right now is called Nostalgic Negative, kind of
Huh.
like a darker
Yeah.
tone. I use it because I have a beard, um, but the picture quality is crazy. Like we took our pregnancy reveal photos with
Oh,
it,
cool.
and you wouldn't think I took the pictures because I'm not a photographer, like in any capacity. Like I know what ISO means. I don't know how to use it very well, but I know
Yeah.
what it means. But it's good. And I also got it. Also, yeah, I had it for my family, and then also Shelby's trying to start some stuff up as well. So I
Awesome.
wanted her to be able to have access to a camera without having to use her phone
Yeah.
when she's doing her stuff as well. Especially since I'm gonna start ramping up with more stuff, so I needed a camera real bad,
Yeah.
especially one that I can take pictures and you know I can change lenses on. So
Yeah. Well, Doc says that he just connected his Fuji up yesterday, and the video is nice.
you got the
um,
SS20 or which one did you get, Doc?
Doc,
I'm
yeah, you'll have to. I can never remember the name of it. Doc, I'm sure we'll drop that in.
Because if it's the one above the XS20, that one's nice.
Mark is asking if you use Dante in your workflows.
Uh, I'm not sure what that is. Is that an audio program or is it? Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh no,
What
yeah,
does that
I don't.
do, my man?
I'm gonna have to look it up while
Yeah,
we
what
talk,
is
because
Dante?
I think it's
Because
an
if
AI thing, and I'm
you
gonna
tell
get
me what
yelled
it
at
is,
by everyone.
I'll tell you. I'm a free trial guy. I have free trials all day. I don't care
All
what 7
day,
days or
I've
what.
got it. I've got it.
Dante. Yeah, I don't know what that
Dante.
is. I use my workflow now is a lot. I mean, with the Rodecaster, makes it a lot easier on me. It goes into the Rodecaster or into my Rode stuff, and I use Logic Pro for my
Oh,
audio
it's
mixing.
the Doc saying that Dante is the audio equivalent of NDI. Okay, well, I feel better about not knowing what it is then,
Yeah,
because
I have not done anything of that nature. I don't use NDI either.
okay.
Yeah, but I could definitely check it out. I could probably think of a use case for myself for it. But I'll check it out. But that's cool. I never even thought to try something like that. Um,
Good suggestion. Well, Doc says he's using the X100V and the
oh,
X100VI.
oh,
So
you got that really popular one on Instagram. Yeah, you
yeah,
got that. Yeah,
exactly. Doc's
yeah.
an influencer. You may not know
I,
this about him.
yeah, he's a trendsetter for real. Ain't
He's
nobody
a
like that.
trendsetter.
But yeah, the X100V. Yeah, I definitely know what that one is. That one was on my list when I was looking at cameras. But I really needed the lens option, and also I think I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that one has a limit to recording though. I think that might be my only issue with that one.
I
If
have
I
no
remember, that's the
idea.
right one.
I have no idea, but Doc will tell us.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
while we're waiting for Doc to answer, we're nearing our time here, and I want to make sure that we share
Yeah.
some of your pro tips. So what are a couple things that you wish someone would have told you when you were starting out in the world of podcasting and content creation?
Oh man. Like really get into like your own rhythm. I think I like because I know a lot of people try to emulate like their favorite shows or like
Yeah.
have it because we've had an intro, we've had
Hmm.
intro music and things of that nature. Um, but we come to find out that it works better when we just like get right to it. Like the when you start the episode, Kris says, "Hey, welcome back to Step Brothers Podcast. This is episode blah blah blah," and then we get right into it because it's just we get to the shenanigans real quick. We don't waste no time. So that worked better. So like get into like your own flow of things, really
Yep.
figure out like what you want it to be. Because if you came in with my show, you can watch it episode one, episode two, 56 will be just dropped, right? You can get in any of those, and every episode is going to be different because it's different topics every time.
Yep.
And you won't feel left out because
It's not
there's nothing
building.
to
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's no thing like, I think we might reference, I reference my wife every episode, but like, you might not remember what I said, but it doesn't really pertain to anything. It's just like
Mhm.
my wife what I said to my wife last week. You remember? Like I'll say something like that. But other
Yeah.
than that, like you can jump in anywhere because it's ours is purposely made that way. It's made to literally be like a group chat. Like you know how random and like one day it'd be dry, the next day it'll be I'll come to my after work, I'll have 19 messages from the same person. You know, like it's just always different. So like really find what you're trying to do and don't be afraid to do it. And also just be yourself.
Yes.
Uh, it's just I don't know. It sounds simple, but it's harder than it seems. Like to just
It really
be
is. Yeah.
yourself because you might be trying to be. I don't want to say this because of X Y Z, or I don't want to get hype about this because someone might not like it. Kris doesn't watch anime like I watch anime. I still bring it up. I don't care if you watch it. I'm excited for it,
Yeah.
right? Because this like my podcast is the one day a week I get to hang out with my best friend, and I kind of can just cut loose for about an hour to an hour and a half. Right, I can just kind of get everything off my chest. We can talk about what we're talking about, and enjoy it. So I treat it like that, and I can guarantee you could tell that it's like that when you hear me. And me and Kris are the exact opposite. Like, and that's also another thing. Like, just work with people that you work well with.
Yes.
And if you are doing solo, even better. Just like really let your character shine through. Because remember, no matter what, I don't care if there's 1,000 podcasts about movies, nobody is Katie, right? So they will not have her takes or
True
her
story.
mindset about it. There are a million podcasts about music, but nobody is me or Kris
Hmm.
because everybody is an individual. So just be you and just do what you're passionate about. Don't worry about if there's a million of this, million of that.
Yeah.
Because if you, like Doc said, a community, if you build a community or a fan base that cares about what you're doing, the numbers are secondary to that. Like
Hmm.
if I have 100 people that watch every week, I'll take that anytime because they're going to watch anything I do. They're going to check out anything we drop because
Hmm.
that's the most important thing. They're there. So that's really what you don't worry about the numbers, really. And like, once again, I hate to keep going back to Doc, but don't try to fight against the algorithm.
Yeah.
You will lose the battle every time. Don't try to figure it out. Just do you, and use the tools that are available to us now that can make some of the things easier, but do not worry about all the secondary stuff. Because if you are genuine, you have something to say, people will listen.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Dalton's listening to Doc. So
Yeah,
people will
I
listen.
mean, yeah,
Oh my
we are a lot
gosh.
alike after watching a lot of videos. I will say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
yeah. It is amazing. It's really easy in today's environment because everything is so incredibly visual and we have access to everyone and everything. So it's really easy to second guess yourself. It's super easy to like look at someone else's background or video quality or logo or the content that they're making and be like, "Oh, I was going to do that, but now they're doing it and they're doing it really well and I don't need to do that anymore." Or like, "Oh, shoot, I don't do an intro, I don't do an intro, video and Dalton does an intro video, so maybe I should change my it really, yeah, I could not agree more that you really just need to figure out what works for you, what your audience is resonating with, like what matters to them, what they like what they really like, what they tell you that they like. Ask them what they like if you don't know.
yeah.
And honestly, like I think the only thing I would probably add to that I feel like I've learned over the last little bit is just there's more people watching and listening than what you think. Like so on my show, we have about 10 maybe people that show up live for a live recording, which is great, like awesome. Huge shout out to Paul and Doc, who I'm sure would just bring all of those people over. So but I'm just doing it for fun. So for me, I'm like
Yeah.
10 is phenomenal. I'm thrilled, I'm delighted, I'm learning a ton, it's great. But it's always, to me, I'm like, oh well, those are the only 10 people that listen, because those are the people that like are engaging and they're showing up, and that's my community. But then inevitably I'm like talking about the show, or I'm on I'm on someone else's show, or I'm doing something else and someone says like, "Oh, I listen to that every week," or like, "Oh, I'm really excited for that episode that's coming up." Like so it is amazing. For so long I was sitting there thinking, "Oh, like my friends aren't going to care what I do for work, or like my work people aren't going to care what I do like in my personal time," or like I sort of was segmenting all of these different, groups that I had. And I think a huge thing that I learned is that when you are able to kind of find your voice and be authentically you and create content that matters to you and matters to your audience, it's fine sharing it in different ways and putting it out in front of people and being proud of it and being excited by it. And there's more people that are watching and paying attention to you than you think. So like in the way that you're watching other people and trying to emulate them, there's other people that are watching you that you may not even realize. So it's you never know who's listening. You never know who's listening. I'm always floored when someone's like, "I heard your episode last week," and I was like, you know I have a show? Like that blows my mind. I don't.
Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah, it's just, if you could go one of two ways about it. Like, so every episode, if we want to get to our audio, we have I would say between 1,500 2,000 listens every week, right? On the audio portion. Yeah. And which is great. I'm super thankful for that. They're all over I have people in Brazil for some reason. I don't know how they found me, but they did, right? Yeah. But and then like our Instagram post gets a lot of engagement from our local people.
Yeah.
But then our YouTube videos, you'll be like, "Oh, this man only got like 50 views," and like I'm like, it's random. I can't like it is what it is. Like, but if it's 50 every week, I'm like, okay, it's those people watching. And then I release a short and I literally got 2,700 views on a short, and I'm like, I don't even know what I did. It just got 2,700 views.
YouTube picked it up probably and sent it out somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay. So it's things like that. Like, it's just like, because my YouTube channel is not even monetized yet. I can't even monetize because like I don't have 500 subscribers.
Yeah, neither
but
do
I have 2,000 listeners. But that's what I'm saying. So the audio part is where most of my audience is right now. Mm-hmm. It might not be that forever, which is why I'm going to keep doing it. And it's just something I enjoy doing, and I'm not afraid to try new things. Also, accept criticism. It's okay.
Hmm.
Not everybody's a hater.
Yeah.
Some people
Some people
really
are
have things to
helpers.
say.
Yeah. Some people
Yeah,
think they are or actually are offering you helpful advice in their criticism. So yeah,
yeah,
that's important. That is super important. All right, well, so what's next for the show?
yeah. So just at the end of the year last year, I created the Step Brothers Media Group. So like
Awesome.
we're gonna be adding more stuff. Like I'm gonna have more shows because
Yay.
I just have so much stuff to talk about. And I want to talk about other things. So my show will obviously still be there,
Hmm.
but I have another friend who's in music. His name is Jonathan Joseph. His daughter was born 10 days after my son.
Oh, cool.
So all of our milestones are like the same.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he just walked. She just walked. So I want to do a dad hour with him every week to kind of just have him decompress, talk about how it's going with fatherhood. Now that I have a second one coming, I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I want to do a show with my nephew. He's 17. About just literally about anime because like
That's so
he's
cool.
from a new age. I'm from an older one. We kind
Yeah.
of bring it together. But it's gonna be called Anime and Jazz because I'm gonna put him on some music, and then we're gonna talk about anime. Just that'll all it'll be about. So like we're adding shows. I'm trying to also just get other voices on there too. So I'm working on that stuff as well. Just having like a kind of like a network type situation and just getting more stuff out there. Definitely going to be utilizing more videos. I'm promise I'm going to get better. I am going to make more short form content like clips and stuff. I I use my time intentionally, and most of my intention is with my family. So
Yeah.
once I make my clip, my episode is done. I'm good until the next episode comes out for the week, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm weekly, so I don't need 17 clips for the week.
Yeah.
But I am gonna probably up it just a little bit. But I'm just super intentional with my time.
Yeah.
So
As you should
um,
be. And I mean,
yeah,
honestly, like, again, like 1% better every day if possible.
yeah,
Like, that's yeah, I love that. I love that you're just not, it's really easy to stop and to second guess yourself and to say like I'm not doing this right. I need to just stop and like look at my plan again and go through everything and rebuild this and redo this, and it's not, that is not the way. The way is to continue on, make small changes, watch, see how it performs, make more small changes, continue on, because it's way harder to drive a stopped parked car than it is to drive a
yeah.
car going 10 miles an
Right.
hour.
Like I said, I'm
So
not
it
gonna stop.
that
I'll keep going.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
what comes what may, but I'm just learning. I'm super thankful to learn from you guys and all the stuff you. That's why I really wanted to make it to Creator Camp this year,
Yeah, so
so I can
excited.
learn from y'all in person, meet you guys, build some connections. Because that's really what it's about. Really,
Yeah.
I don't like to um, work with people I don't know.
Yeah.
Really, like if I'll know if we can work together or not, right? So
Hmm.
like, but I see you guys every week, so like I feel like I know you guys, and I know you're like, if I comment on a video, it's Step Brothers Podcast. That's my YouTube. So like that's me. That's
Yeah.
me. But I I watch a lot of them live, but I'll be at work, so I
Yeah.
can't like
You
comment.
can't
And
comment.
I'm on
Yeah.
and I'm on my iPad. It's super hard to comment and watch at the same time on the iPad. So like I just leave the video up while I'm on my doing my spreadsheets and things of that nature. Um, and same thing when I did live. I mean the Leap live. I was
Yeah.
watching all of them. I was there. I just couldn't
Yeah.
jump in there and
Yeah. See,
comment every.
there's invisible people always
Yeah,
always
yeah,
watching. It's it's great to keep a good eye on all of the analytics and the data and everything that is happening with your show, certainly. But
yeah,
it's also good to know that like everyone is experiencing things slightly differently, and that does not mean that you're not winning at what you do. So it's, I think, a good
yeah.
reminder for us as we're
I'm
growing.
not analytics driven at all. I'm people
Yeah.
driven. So like
Mhm.
that's all that matters to me. Like
Yeah.
numbers will be numbers, and people can see those numbers all they want. Like
Yeah.
you cannot replicate like a real connection. So if
Yeah.
someone really listens to my stuff, really vibes with me, because I get DMs daily on my Instagram. So
That's
like
awesome.
those people are the ones that keep me going anyway. And then if my wife tells me I'm doing good, I'm doing good. So like that's all that matters. Because my wife is gonna be my biggest critic. Really, that's
Yeah.
what she, that's what your partner's in life for. So like, she tells me if I do anything that's kind of weak or something that I could do better on, and
Yeah.
I take it. So like, that's important. So I know if she's happy with my content, it's good.
It's
So
a win. It's a win.
uh,
Oh gosh. Well, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for coming and hanging out. I'm not just saying this. It's just so great to hear people's stories and hear how they got started and some of the challenges that they go through, because I think it resonates with all of us. So no
yeah,
matter where you are at with whatever kind of content that you're creating, whether it's for a full-time job or for yourself or somewhere in between, it it's nice to know that there are other people that are in those same places. It's nice to have a face and understand like who now you all know Dalton. So now you can all ask questions in the community or,
yeah.
hang out or ask what you're up to or, learn more about what he's doing with growing and building his podcast, which I think is awesome. Your wife says you're doing great, beyond
Oh,
great. So
thanks.
you're winning. You're
Thanks,
absolutely
Helms.
winning. Well, quick plug before we jump off today. So you have a couple seconds to get those last questions in. But as Dalton was saying earlier, we are hanging out at Creator Camp again this year. It is October 15th through 18th. We only have 26 spots left, which is just mind blowing because I think we only just released tickets like what feels like a week ago or less. So definitely make sure that you get in. We can't help if you don't sign up soon, you will lose your spot. And as Paul says, FOMO causes tears. So don't miss out. Come hang out with Dalton and I and Paul and Doc and everyone else who is coming. We're really looking forward to and excited. So swing on over ecamm.com/camp. And I'll bring Dalton back for this one. But again, we have a brand new community page. So I know we do a lot. We probably do more than we should. And it's sometimes hard to find everything. So we're trying to put everything in one spot. So if you go over to ecamm.com/community, you can sign up for email reminders and our newsletters. You can find out when all these shows are on. You can access tutorial videos and updates, find out about our beta testing program. It's kind of everything in one portal and space so that you can figure out everything that you're looking for. So more of that kind of stuff coming because I know we want to help you connect all of the dots and make sure that you get all the content that you need. But thank you again. Thanks so much for spending the time. I know time's
Absolutely.
important, and congrats on upcoming baby. That is so exciting, and congrats
Yeah,
on the show and everything you have planned going forward. And thanks so much for being part of the Ecamm fam.
absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Hope to see all y'all soon.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. We'll see you next time. Balloons. See you
I
next
forgot it
time,
does that.
everyone.